Chuck here, and if you've clicked on this video, you have probably come looking for some tips on working with SVGs in PowerPoint. So we've just got a couple quick tips that we're going to go through that'll help get you started, and maybe we can show you some things that you did not know before. And if you like this video, we'd appreciate a thumbs up, and for more tips like this, go ahead and subscribe if you want. But let's get started. So I've got a slide here which I've dropped an SVG on, which you can either just go insert and then you can go insert, where is it? Picture right here. So insert picture, picture from file. You can bring it in that way, or if you have it kind of local or close on your desktop, you can just drop it in. And the nice thing about working with SVGs in PowerPoint is that they are completely scalable. That means you can make them any size that you want. You can do animations and transitions to make them larger, and they're not going to get fuzzy, and they're not going to rasterize or look bad on displays that are, larger, especially if you're doing a presentation on a big display. And the other nice thing about an SVG is that you can change the color of it natively, just like that in PowerPoint. And that's a very useful feature, especially if you're repeating icons or changing the background from darker to lighter. So that's just a little bit about why you might want to use an SVG and how to get one in your presentation. Now, if you're somebody who uses Illustrator and you need to go back and forth, as of a few versions ago, and I'm on the Mac, but on the Mac you can copy and you can paste vector artwork right out of Illustrator, and it behaves the same way. It is scalable. You can make it any size you want, and it's going to maintain that crisp look. The problem with cutting and pasting from Illustrator is that you lose that ability to change the color. So as far as I know, you can't cut and paste from Illustrator and be able to do this, where you can change the color like you can when you natively place an SVG file into your document. And one note about the SVG file is that it needs to have been generated in a vector program. So it needs to be vector or math graphics. It can't be raster or an image, or that scalability and that the ability to recolor that won't work. So let's just delete these out of here. So you can, if you're in a pinch and you want to save some time, you can change the color right in Illustrator, bring that over, and it's going to be the correct color. One thing to keep in mind, and I have run into this in the past, is that if you hit a certain color in the gamut that's outside of what PowerPoint can display, it will just show up as black. And the unfortunate thing about that is you might not see it, but your client or somebody that you send it to might see that. So I've noticed that a couple times, and maybe it's just a Mac or a PC thing, but there are some colors that either seem to be able to only be displayed on the Mac and not on the PC, or something about bringing it from Illustrator over and then it's saved and they turn black. So just something to be careful about. And again, the way around that, well, actually let me show you how to get around that. You can make this any color, keep it vector, and then just go File, Save As, and then save to your desktop, an SVG like that. You can give it a name. We'll just call this light bulb. I think I spelled light bulb wrong, but that's okay. But once you export it from Illustrator like that, you can do the same thing, where you can drag and drop it in, and you should have the ability to recolor it. As you'll notice there, it's really large in terms of these handles for the icon, and that is because when Illustrator exports that SVG, it's giving you that full artboard size. But one trick, and this is actually a really good trick for kind of rescuing an SVG that you've found in a PowerPoint that you need to get back to Illustrator. So we can take an SVG and we can go back to Illustrator, and the way that you're going to do that is, and let me show you first, so why it doesn't just work kind of with a cut and paste. If you try to cut and paste and go back to Illustrator, we'll cut and paste, but now we have raster artwork, right? So it's fuzzy when you zoom in on it. It's not going to maintain that crisp, math or vector graphic. There is, however, a fix for that, and what you do to fix that is you're going to right-click it, go down here to convert to shape, and I'm not sure why PowerPoint doesn't just natively make these shapes when they come in, but you convert it to shape, and then now you have, this is all shapes now. I think I can even ungroup this, and you'll see it's all parts and pieces. And once you've done this, you can bring it back to Illustrator, and it will be vector. So I'm not 100% sure again why it wouldn't be shapes when you bring it in, but that is a way to fix it. And what's nice here too is if you wanted to, you can make changes to the parts and pieces of the graphic once you've converted it to shapes and ungrouped it. Oh, I hear the dog barking. And somebody's at the door, but that's okay, because we're about to finish up here. That's most of the things I think you would need to know about working with SVGs. And again, if you liked this, appreciate a thumbs up and a subscribe if you want to see more tips.